Alright, so you need 3 things for the beginning. This tubing, this heat gun, and a connector.
That tubing is 80 PSI Polypro. It's sprinkler line. You get it at Home Depot for about $16 for 100 foot. That makes about 9 to 10 depending on the side. If you're making sets, it makes about 10. So she's heating up the end with the heat gun on high, and then she goes around the edge. And then your 3/4 inch plastic connector that you get right there in the same area.
It helps if you heat it up a little bit.
All the way around so it slips in.
Just put it in there.
You put the connector up to the center ring. You'll see the center ring on the middle of them. They stick out a little bit.
So it'll look like that.
Okay.
And then you flip it around and heat up the other side.
After you put the other side up to that center ring, you're going to use a little bit of Gorilla Tape. This is like $12 a roll, and you'll cut it into strips as you tear it. It's a type of duct tape. So you're going to fill in the gap that is created by the center of that ring. And the Gorilla Tape is what keeps this from coming back apart. It is a definite necessary expense. And you can buy smaller rolls. We make a lot of hoops. And then you're going to come back with a little bit wider of a strip. And you're going to go over the top of the entire connector area. Just wrapping it like you would wrap a hoop. A good 2-3 inch area width past the connector, and that helps ensure Okay, and then if you warm up the hoop a little bit, it'll shape easier. When they're cold, they don't shape very well. So you make it round, and then to tape it, there's 2 ways of taping it. Oops. You can use black duct tape for the first round, or gray tape if you want it heavier, or you can use a colored duct tape to wrap for your first layer. So Aisha's going to start with a black, but you could also use like a colored duct tape. And both work nicely, but it's really a preference thing, whether you like the smoothness of the electrical tape. Now, electrical tape does come in several colors now. It's a little bit expensive, but it's not as expensive as the gaffer tape. And the thing about gaffer tape is it's a type of duct tape, a cloth tape, but it's the width of electrical tape. I find both work quite well. And my preference is the smoothness of the electrical. But if you want the duct tape a little bit smoother, just take your heat gun around the entire thing when you're done. Don't melt the tape all together, but you can melt down so that it's smooth on the edges like the electrical tape is. And that's how you make a hoop. Now you can come back with your second color or a second layer. I do like at least 2 layers of tape when it's electrical, sometimes 3 on the larger hoop. And on the duct tape, 1 layer is usually pretty good because it's the amount of duct tape that you use. The duct tape you will want to tear in half, so you're using it in strips like this. So I use the duct tape in strips, and that way that's part of why you might want to go back and melt too, because you can sometimes get a jagged edge, but it's not too bad if you're careful. Tear straight and it works. So that is how you make a hula hoop, and we've been making hoops all day. Okay, you're making 2 hoops, and the reason you're making one right about belly button height and then the other one a little bit higher, some tricks are easier to learn with the larger hoop, actually most tricks, but then some are easier with the smaller hoop. If you're having to juggle it, you might want the smaller hoop. The better you get, you'll want the smaller hoop all the time, but you do have to go faster to hoop with the smaller hoop. And then the minis you use on individual arms, and you just use 1/2 inch instead of 3/4 inch on the minis. So, and then I do a double roll tape on them also. You just buy the 1/2 inch connectors, use the Gorilla Tape, and you have your set. I sell these sets for $65, but this is how you make your own.